So I challenge you guys. What is your highest and best use? And how close to your highest and best use are you living right now? How far away from your highest and best use are you living right now? And what might be hindering you from getting closer to your highest and best use? Welcome to the EQ Gangster podcast, where you will learn practical tools to grow your mental and emotional health and intelligence to be the best version of yourself, both at work and at home. It is real, raw, and transformational. The journey of emotional growth isn't easy, but it's worth it. I believe in you. This episode is sponsored by Arrowhead Leadership Consulting. What are your organization's biggest pain points right now? Low EQ leaders, weak managers, toxic culture, high turnover, low engagement, leader development, lagging behind company growth, no company career path. Let us know if your organization needs leadership coaching, workshops, training, or keynotes. Visit arrowhead-leadership.com for more details. Arrowhead-leadership.com. EQ Gangsters, I am super thankful for different cultures. I'm thankful for different languages. I'm thankful for different perspectives. I'm thankful for medical people, folks that have invested their lives in figuring out how to do medical stuff. I'm thankful for smart people. I'm thankful for people that have people skills. I am thankful for transportation, thankful for family, thankful for God's word, thankful for prayer, thankful for exercise. This episode is about our highest and best use. I did a post on my LinkedIn about this. I had a conversation recently with a guy who is a recently retired 06 full-bird colonel in the Army, and in the past few years he underwent some major life transformation, changed his thought process from one of lack and then into a mindset of abundance. And I asked him, I said, what led you to this big decision point in your life? And he said, after multiple attempts in my own life of me self-sabotaging my life and relationships in my life, I decided, dude, what is going on here? I am repeatedly blowing up these different areas of my life. What is going on? I've got to stop. I'm going to stop. And I'm like, dude, are you telling me my story? Because I can intimately relate with that. So, and so then I asked him, I said, okay, so, kind of what was that process? What did that process look like of change, of having some massive transformation? He said, well, once I recognized the self-sabotage, then I started to think about what is my highest use? And, for me, I read a book a long time ago called Selling to Vito, VITO, very important top officer. What is our highest and best use? That was kind of essentially the same question he asked himself. What is my highest and best use? So I challenge you guys. What is your highest and best use? And how close to your highest and best use are you living right now? How far away from your highest and best use are you living right now? And what might be hindering you from getting closer to your highest and best use? That'd be a great exercise to do right now. And you could do internal and external. What are the internal obstacles to your highest and best use? What are some potentially external obstacles to your highest and best use? And how can you close the gap in both of those areas, internally and externally? And here's another one you can do, personally and professionally. And then what's the relationship between those two, personally and professionally, internally and externally? That would be a super fun exercise to do. Take some time in your next reflection time to work through some of those questions. And then what can help you close those gaps, personally, professionally, internally, externally? Who can help you close those gaps, internally, externally, personally, and professionally? And begin a game plan to begin working towards closing that gap, the delta between where you're currently at and where you believe you can be or who you want to be. And again, really do some reflection on what might help you in this journey. I think that's a huge and worthwhile question to ask ourselves. What is our highest and best use? And it's fascinating because, the answer may change throughout the course of your life based on your growth, based on, your intention. So anyway, this is such a fascinating topic for me. So anyway, just want to throw that out to you all to be chewing on. And I'd love to hear from you guys too. Like, if you come up with some answers, if you come up with some thoughts, if you come up with some direction, if you come up with some insights into your highest and best use, I'd love to hear from you. And also hit me up on LinkedIn, are probably the easiest way. And also, can you look back in your life and do some a past audit of your past? What were those roles, positions, jobs maybe that you have had that were the closest to your highest and best use? And then maybe those that were further from your highest and best use, where you don't feel like you were being optimized or maximized. And see if you could plot some data points and some themes, some trends, some observations. And why do you think this role was closer to your highest and best use versus this role where you don't feel like, no, in fact, I just talked to another guy recently, one of my clients. He had been in this role for 6 months, this leadership role for 6 months. And I asked him, I said, what percentage of your potential do you feel is being used right now in your current role? He said 30%. And as a leader developer and a coach, executive coach, man, I was heartbroken. I thought, man, dude, you're a Ferrari and you're driving 35 miles an hour. That's not what Ferraris are designed for. Ferraris are designed to go 220 miles an hour. And he's in first gear in his Ferrari. I thought, man, dude, I said, have you communicated that to your leadership? And, he said, well, for the first few months, he's like, I didn't want to say anything because I was learning, and maybe, I'm sure at some point that they're going to give me more to do, because right now I'm not being gainfully employed really, based on what they had originally asked me to do. And he's like, but I'm just sure that'll change. And he's like, it was fine initially because I was using all this extra time to just study and research about this new industry and space that he was in. And I said, okay, dude, it's been 6 months. Like, I would strongly encourage you to, I said, dude, if I was your leader and you were my direct report, I would immediately want to know that I was only utilizing you at 30% capacity right now, right? Because in my opinion, that is unacceptable. I want to maximize your potential, your value, your resources, skills, strengths, talents, abilities. I don't want to, whatever the opposite of optimize, minimize your skill sets. I want to maximize your skill sets. If you're capable of going 220 miles an hour, I don't want you to stay in first gear driving 35. So anyway, what is your highest and best use? And yeah, and how can you get closer to being utilized at your highest and best use? Is there a way to maximize, optimize in your current spot? Is there another spot maybe that might do that better? Is there a way to maybe view your current role differently that might potentially maximize, optimize your current, your skill sets and desires and passions and that kind of thing? So anyway, just want to throw that out to you all. It's a really challenging, interesting conversation that I had with that colonel, and then again previously one of my clients, kind of about this topic. I thought was super interesting. Emotionally healthy leaders create emotionally healthy cultures, which lead to organizations that maximize results, outcomes, performance, engagement, and impact.